to Save the Andes Day 6. My name is Miss Mac, and I'm the robot teacher in your computer. Sort of. This is all about sculpting landscapes. We have 2 readings that we need to do today, so let's just hop in and get started. So here is the notes table that we have. We have 2 subjects, volcanoes, and then weathering and erosion. Then we have to find the explanation of the cause, the effect on the Andes, and then we have to decide the scale, proportion, and quantity. So let's get started with the first reading. We have this picture next to it. It says tectonic plates, South America. To the next picture, we have the Lascar eruption in 1993. So let's jump in to the reading. I'm going to read this and make some notes. Make sure that you are taking notes with me and doing everything that I do, as well as taking any other notes that you want to take. Volcanoes. As the Nazca Plate subducts or moves beneath neighboring plates, magma is produced, which rises and may erupt explosively at the Earth's surface. Right off the bat, I don't know what subducts means, so I'm going to underline it. Go to these 3 dots. The U is for underline. And then moves beneath neighboring plates. I don't actually know what neighboring means in this context. I know what a neighbor is, obviously. So I'm going to add a shape, shapes, circle, and then circle this neighboring plate. Then we want to, this is the fill color, this little paint can, transparent. And then let's make this red. And I'm going to make it a little bolder as well with these 3 lines. There we go. All right, so I can guess that subducts means moves beneath, but that is an inference. Okay, moving on. This flow of lava creates new land features. Creates is a key word here, right? Because we want to look for the cause and effects of everything. Creates sounds like it would cause something. So I am going to highlight creates. All right, volcanoes in the Andes, such as Lascar in northern Chile, are a good example of this type of activity. Lascar's eruption in 1993 produced pyroclastic flows. Do not know what that word means. Gonna underline it. But then it says hot ash in parentheses, so maybe pyroclastic flows is hot ash. So starting over this sentence, Lascar's eruption in 1993 produced pyroclastic flows, hot ash, and the volcano was active as recently as 2012. As the volcanoes around the Andes are very active due to plate movement, they are part of a region on Earth often referred to as the Ring of Fire, a place with frequent earthquakes and volcanoes. Okay, so I have some notes here. If I want to go and add some more notes, I'm going to go up here, text box. It's right next to the arrow. I'm going to draw a text box over here. And then so I can see it, I'm going to fill it with this light pink color. And then we have our notes. All right, so subducts. My first note is going to be subducts equals moves beneath or under. Then neighboring, I know my neighbors are next to me, so maybe neighboring means next to, and then I can put a question mark by that because I'm not entirely sure. All right, this flow of lava creates new land features. What are these new land features? Flow of lava makes what? New land features. Volcanoes in the Andes are a good example of this activity. So I'm guessing that the flow of lava creates volcanoes. Okay, and then volcano eruptions, it says down here, volcano eruptions produce or make pyroclastic flows, which we know is hot ash. So volcanoes equals volcano eruptions equals hot ash. And then they are part of a region on Earth often referred to as the Ring of Fire. Maybe I'll make a note of that. Ring of Fire, place with a lot of earthquakes and volcanoes. Okay. Now we have our notes and we have marked up this reading just a little bit. If you want to mark up this reading more, go ahead. Please do that. Now you should have been taking notes along with me, but if you have more notes to add or you're not quite caught up, please pause this video now so that you have at least what I have on my slide. Welcome back from your pause. You're adding notes and circling and highlighting and underlining new things. Let's jump into this first cell in your notes table. So, explanation of cause volcanoes. What causes volcanoes? Take a second to come up with your own answer. Pause this video, come up with your own answer. Good to see that you have your answer down. Let's read what I came up with. Volcanoes are caused by one tectonic plate moving under another tectonic plate. This creates magma, which can erupt onto the surface of the earth. If you have something similar, fantastic. If you have something completely different, maybe you want to check with the reading and make sure that your answer is correct. For now, let's move on to the effect on the Andes. This question is asking, how do volcanoes affect the Andes? Go ahead and pause this video and go back to the reading. Make your answer to this question. Welcome back. This is what I came up with. So volcanoes erupt and send hot ash into the air around the Andes. Volcanoes and moving tectonic plates have also created the Ring of Fire, an area with many earthquakes and eruptions. So I just went back to my notes and we can see like magma equals volcanoes, and then volcanoes create volcano eruptions, obviously, and eruptions means hot ash into the air. This is this part right here. And then it's not just like a one-time thing. This is a ring of fire. So they have many earthquakes and many volcanic eruptions. So I made sure to put that in my answer too. Let's move on to the next little cell. If you're not done, make sure to pause this video and finish your answer. Okay, so scale, proportion, and quantity. Does this event seem to cause a large scale or small scale change? Sudden or gradual change? Pause this video, write down what you think. Welcome back. Hopefully you have your answer down. I put volcanoes seem to cause a large scale change that is gradual. Now you may agree or disagree with me. This is one of those things where large scale and small scale are actually relative. So I put large scale because volcanoes are large formations and they are gradual. Gradual just means that they are slow. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens step by step and it takes a lot of time. This is what I put. If you put something different and want to argue it, definitely that's fine, unless your real teacher says otherwise. And just remember that I'm your robot teacher, not your human teacher. Let's move on to the next reading. So we have this picture here, and I'm actually going to take you to a zoomed in version. We can kind of look around. Here we go. So we see some bushes, looks like cracks in the earth. If you look here too, there's like a line of bushes and then it stops and then it continues in the ditch. So then maybe this isn't a slow thing. More to come. Let's go back. Now I want you to make notes by yourself when I'm reading this. So if you need to pause at any time, please feel free to pause this video. Weathering and Erosion Part 1. As in other areas of the world, weathering factors such as wind and water can cause erosion in the Andes. Because of the steepness of much of the land, soil in the Andes Mountains is very susceptible to erosion. Interestingly, however, the same force that created the Andes, plate tectonics, is actually destroying the Andes as well. Earthquakes are caused by the fracturing of rock as tectonic plates slide past, over, or underneath one another. In the case of the Andes, the Nazca Plate slides underneath the South American plate. Scientists have discovered that earthquakes have been the major source of erosion in the history of the Andes Mountains, causing many landslides and mudslides in the area. And think about what that has to do with the picture that we just saw. Pause this video to finish any notes. Okay, and let's move on. You should have paused. We have this picture as well. Let's take a look at this map. So purple means no landslides and bright yellow means a lot of landslides. So let's look. This is South America. And if you can see, we have yellow all the way down the coast including much of the border of Chile. So let's read this part 2. Make sure to connect with the picture and what we're reading, and you should be taking notes as I read. Erosion changes the landscape of the Andes Mountains, often destroying habitats for many plant and animal species. It can also contaminate bodies of water with excess sediment, removing nutrient-rich soil from an area, and cause greater runoff of essential water. This process happens at a smaller scale than other processes you have learned about today, and can be sudden or gradual depending on the cause of the erosion. Please take another minute or two, finish your notes, pause this video. Okay, now we have to fill in our notes table. So weathering and erosion, what is the cause of these two things? You can do either of these sentence starters. So we have weathering and erosion are caused by blank, or you can write blank causes weathering and erosion. Pause this video to finish this cell. Okay, and we're moving on to the next cell, effect on the Andes. What is the effect on the Andes that weathering and erosion have? So you can start off by saying weathering and erosion affects the Andes by, or you can say something like weathering and erosion causes blank in the Andes. Pause this video to finish your answer. Okay, let's move on to the last cell. Okay, I moved myself so we can see this whole thing. So our last question is large scale or small scale, sudden or gradual change. You can write something like weathering and erosion is a blank scale change. And we have to do both here. Weathering and erosion is a blank change, so sudden or gradual. And you may have to explain your answer a little bit for this question. Pause this video, make sure all of this notes table is filled out. Okay, good to see that your notes are filled out. Let's move on to the next question. This is your last question for this task. It says, explain in your own words why the risk of landslides is so severe on the western coast of South America. And I'm going to leave you to do this completely on your own. I will see you maybe next week, maybe the week after, who knows. Have a great day.